What if I told you that your chronic symptoms are created in your brain? Maybe that makes you feel upset, maybe even angry with me. If it does, I get it. Most of us who have lived with chronic symptoms or illnesses have heard from at least one healthcare provider that there's nothing wrong with us, that it's all in our head. I've heard it too. I couldn't believe it when it happened to me. I felt hurt and judged. This was a doctor I trusted to help me. I felt so betrayed that it took me years to walk into a doctor's office again. I'm telling you this so you believe me when I say your symptoms are not imaginary. They are not made up in your head. They are very real, and I have no doubts about that. I'm simply explaining that they are created in your brain. For instance, if you touch a hot stove and your finger burns, that pain isn't created in your finger. Signals from your finger travel up to your brain, and your brain assesses the danger and then it creates pain to warn you. The reality is that all of our symptoms, whether acute or chronic, are generated in the brain in response to perceived danger. If the brain thinks you are in danger, it will activate the stress response and trigger symptoms to alert you. Common examples of this can be pain after an injury, fatigue after an infection, or butterflies in your stomach right before a big presentation. In all these examples, the symptoms are triggered when your brain thinks that your physical or emotional well being is under threat. These symptoms usually go away when the danger is gone. That's how the nervous system is designed to work. Now, you might be wondering, why does it matter if symptoms are created in the brain and not in the body? Why is it relevant that symptoms are your brain's warning signal about danger? Because this shows that symptoms aren't always a reflection of what's happening in your body. They are a reflection of what your brain believes is happening. So, what happens if your brain's assessment of danger goes wrong? Let me give you an example that was documented in the British Medical Journal. A construction worker accidentally stepped on a 7-inch nail that went right through his boot. He screamed in excruciating pain all the way to the hospital. But when the doctors removed his boot, they found that the nail had miraculously passed between his toes, causing no actual harm. So, what really happened? Why did he experience such intense pain when there was no injury? In this case, the visual information of the nail going through the boot was sent to his brain. His brain assessed that this was a grave injury, an extreme danger, and it created excruciating pain to match. Isn't it fascinating how the brain can generate real pain, real symptoms based solely on its perception of danger, even without any physical damage? Let me share another example. This one I witnessed myself at the Grand Canyon. There's this skywalk, a U shaped walkway with a glass floor hanging over the canyon. A man walking ahead of us suddenly dropped to his knees and he couldn't move. The staff had to carry him off the skywalk. After some time, he recovered and then he was able to walk again. What happened here? When this gentleman looked down through the glass floor and saw the canyon thousands of feet below, his brain perceived extreme danger. His survival response activated, and his body went into a freeze response. His legs became temporarily paralyzed, even though there was no actual injury. I hope that these examples are helping you see that your symptoms are not always an accurate representation of the state of your body, but rather a reflection of the level of danger your brain is perceiving. And when the brain no longer senses danger, the symptoms can reverse completely. Symptoms are at best a guesstimate, your brain's calculated guess and estimation of how much danger you are in. And when you learn to influence that guesstimate, you can change your brain's perception of danger and the symptoms start to fade. I know this is new information and it can be hard to accept at first. I often hear new clients say, but my symptoms are so real and so intense. How could my brain possibly do that? I understand the skepticism. It can feel like someone is telling you that your experience isn't real. But I am saying the opposite. Your experience is real, as real as if it was happening to you right now. This is why someone with chronic pain can say, "It feels like I'm being stabbed in the chest with a hot knife," even if they have never been stabbed. Or, "My skull feels like it's being crushed," even if they have never experienced that. It's because the brain creates that pain. Even in an actual injury, it's still the brain creating it. That's why the construction worker's pain felt just as real as if the nail had actually gone through his foot. Whether the brain creates pain from real danger or perceived danger, both are equally real and equally intense. Now, I want to make something very clear. This does not mean that you are doing this to yourself. I've personally struggled with this stigma and shame for a long time. I felt like I was being told that I was doing this to myself. Then it evolved into the idea that my brain was doing this to me. It made me very angry with my brain. Why is it doing this? It took me a long time to see this differently. So let me say this as clearly as I can. Neither you nor your brain are doing this on purpose. None of this is intentional. Your brain is like a scared rescue puppy that you just got home. It doesn't feel safe yet, it's afraid of everything, and any small sound or movement can trigger full body panic and shaking. Now, would you blame that little puppy for doing this to himself? Would you get mad at him? Of course not. You'd love him. You'd be patient and forgiving. You'd give him time, cuddles, and gentle training until he finally feels safe again. That's exactly what your brain needs from you right now. It needs you to be patient and loving, to be kind and forgiving. The brain needs you to teach it how to feel safe again. So, my question is, will you help your brain the way you'd help that rescue puppy? Let me know in the comments below.